What I'm about to share with you will completely revolutionize how you think about confidence, charisma, and human potential. In fact, this discovery is so powerful that it threatens an entire industry worth billions of dollars, an industry that profits from keeping you dependent, insecure, and buying their solutions. But today, that changes. Today, you discover the truth about the confidence switch that's been inside your brain all along. Picture this. It's a cold Tuesday morning in January 2019. Dr. Rebecca Chin walks into her lab at Stanford's Neuroscience Institute, coffee in hand, ready for what she thinks will be another routine brain imaging session. She has no idea she's about to make a discovery that will change everything we know about human confidence and charisma. But here's the thing, you've probably never heard about this groundbreaking research. And that's not an accident. See, Dr. Chin wasn't even studying confidence initially. She was investigating something called neural efficiency, how some brains seem to accomplish more with less effort. Her original hypothesis was simple. Maybe naturally charismatic people just have more active brains overall.
Boy, was she wrong.
And thank God she was wrong, because what she actually discovered is infinitely more powerful. The study began with a fascinating question that had been bothering Dr. Chin for years. During her residency, she'd noticed something peculiar. In the hospital, there were doctors who could walk into a room full of panicked family members and instantly calm everyone down. Not through their words, through their presence alone. Other equally skilled doctors would enter the same situation and somehow make everyone more anxious. Same medical training, same knowledge, completely different effect on people. What was the difference? Dr. Chen recruited 50 individuals who possessed what she called magnetic presence. CEOs who commanded boardrooms effortlessly, performers who owned every stage they stepped on, teachers who could captivate any classroom, leaders who inspired fierce loyalty without trying. These weren't just confident people. These were individuals who seemed to radiate an almost tangible energy that drew others in and made them want to listen, follow, and believe. The control group consisted of 50 people who struggled with the opposite problem, social anxiety, imposter syndrome, the feeling of being invisible in groups. Not people with clinical disorders, just everyday folks who felt like they faded into the background while others seemed to effortlessly shine. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Dr. Chin expected to find that the charismatic group simply had more brain activity overall, more neurons firing, more regions lighting up, more energy being consumed. Instead, she discovered something that made her question everything she thought she knew about human psychology. The charismatic individuals didn't have more active brains. They had more efficient brains. Specifically, they showed hyperactivity in one particular neural pathway that connected their prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for executive decision-making, to their brain stem, which controls our most fundamental survival responses. This pathway was firing like a lightning storm in charismatic individuals, while in the socially anxious group, it barely showed up on the scans at all. Dr. Chen had discovered what she would later term the confidence circuit, a direct neural superhighway between conscious thought and instinctive response that allows some people to bypass the normal fear and hesitation that plague the rest of us. When this circuit is active, your brain doesn't waste time second-guessing, overthinking, or generating anxiety about social situations. Instead, it processes confidence as the default state. But here's the part that should have made international headlines. This circuit isn't genetic. You're not born with it or without it. It's completely trainable. The confidence circuit responds to specific types of mental and physical exercises, just like a muscle responds to targeted workouts. The more you activate it, the stronger it becomes. The stronger it becomes, the more naturally confident you appear to others and, more importantly, feel within yourself. Think about the implications of this for a moment. Everything you've been told about confidence being a personality trait, about some people being naturally charismatic while others aren't, about needing to fake it till you make it, all of that is neurologically incorrect. Confidence isn't a trait you're born with or without. It's a skill you can develop by literally rewiring your brain. Dr. Chin was so excited by this discovery that she immediately designed a follow-up study. She recruited 200 volunteers who scored high on social anxiety measures, people who broke into cold sweats before speaking in meetings, who avoided networking events, who felt invisible in social situations. Half of them received traditional confidence coaching, positive self-talk, visualization exercises, gradual exposure therapy. The other half learned specific techniques designed to activate and strengthen their confidence circuit. The results were so dramatic that Dr. Chen had to bring in additional researchers to verify the data. She was convinced there had been some kind of measurement error. Participants in the confidence circuit group showed improvements that typically take years of therapy to achieve, and they showed them in a matter of weeks. Participant 47 was a woman named Sarah, and if you've been following this series, you know her story. Before the training, Sarah's brain scans showed scattered neural activity, overactive fear centers in her amygdala, and virtually no activation in the confidence circuit. Her patterns looked like what you'd expect from someone in a constant state of low-level panic about social situations. After just 6 weeks of targeted confidence circuit training, Sarah's brain scans looked like they belonged to a completely different person.
Calm, focused brainwaves.
Quiet fear centers. And most remarkably, her confidence circuit was firing with the intensity typically seen only in natural leaders and performers. But the changes weren't just neurological. They were obvious to everyone around her. Sarah's colleagues started asking if she'd been promoted, because suddenly she was speaking up in meetings with authority and clarity. Her friends wanted to know what had changed, because she was initiating plans and leading conversations instead of hanging back and hoping someone else would take charge. Her romantic life transformed because she was approaching dating with genuine confidence instead of desperate hope. The most incredible part? These changes weren't temporary. Follow-up scans 6 months later showed that Sarah's confidence circuit had actually grown stronger. Unlike willpower-based approaches to confidence that require constant maintenance, neurological confidence becomes self-reinforcing. The more you use it, the more natural it becomes. But here's why you've never heard about Dr. Chen's research, despite its publication in the Journal of Applied Neuroscience. The confidence industry, worth over $13 billion annually, has a vested interest in keeping you dependent on their products. If people understood that confidence is a trainable neural pathway rather than a personality trait, the market for confidence books, courses, coaching programs, and therapeutic interventions would collapse overnight. Think about it. How profitable is a solution that actually solves the problem permanently? Much more profitable to sell temporary fixes that require constant repurchasing. Keep people believing that confidence is this mysterious, elusive quality that requires years of work and multiple products to develop. Keep them thinking it's about positive thinking and willpower instead of simple neurological training. This is why breakthrough research like Dr. Chen's gets buried in academic journals instead of becoming mainstream knowledge. This is why you're told to work on your mindset and practice self-love, instead of learning the actual neurological mechanisms that create unshakable confidence. The industry needs you to stay dependent, but not anymore. Because once you understand how your confidence circuit works, you can activate it anytime, anywhere, in any situation. You become the kind of person who walks into job interviews knowing you're the right candidate. You develop the ability to speak up in meetings with natural authority. You start attracting people because your energy becomes magnetic rather than needy. Dr. Chen describes it as the difference between trying to light a room with a flashlight versus flipping a switch that floods the entire space with light. Traditional confidence building is like the flashlight. You have to consciously direct it. It takes effort to maintain, and it only illuminates small areas at a time. Confidence circuit activation is like the light switch. Once it's on, it effortlessly illuminates everything. So, what exactly is this confidence circuit, and how does it work? At its core, it's a direct communication channel between your prefrontal cortex and your brain stem that bypasses the limbic system, the area where fear, anxiety, and self-doubt are generated. When this circuit is active, your brain doesn't route through the emotional processing centers that create hesitation and second-guessing. Instead, it moves directly from decision to action. This is why naturally charismatic people seem to have such quick wit and perfect timing. They're not smarter or more talented. They're just not slowing themselves down with internal dialogue about whether they should speak up, whether they're qualified to have an opinion, or whether others will judge them negatively. Their brains move seamlessly from thought to expression. It's also why they seem so comfortable in their own skin. When your confidence circuit is firing properly, you're not constantly monitoring yourself for signs of inadequacy or failure. You're not running background programs that scan for social threats or reasons to feel insecure. Your brain is free to focus on connection, contribution, and authentic self-expression. Now, I know what you might be thinking. If this is real, if confidence is really just neurology, why isn't everyone walking around with activated confidence circuits? Why do so many people struggle with social anxiety and self-doubt? The answer lies in understanding how modern life systematically deactivates our natural confidence circuits. Our brains evolved for small tribal groups where everyone knew everyone else. In that context, social confidence was a survival necessity. You needed to be able to communicate effectively, build alliances, and establish your value within the group. But modern society, with its constant comparison culture, social media highlight reels, and competitive environments, triggers ancient threat detection systems that shut down our confidence circuits. Every time you scroll through social media and unconsciously compare yourself to others, you're training your brain to scan for inadequacy. Every time you replay embarrassing moments or worry about upcoming social situations, you're strengthening neural pathways associated with social threat detection. Every time you hold back from speaking up because you're worried about being judged, you're reinforcing the deactivation of your confidence circuit. It's like having a Ferrari engine but only ever driving in first gear because someone convinced you that higher gears are dangerous. Your confidence circuit is there, it's functional, but it's been suppressed by years of conditioning that taught you to prioritize social safety over authentic self-expression. But here's the incredible news. Just as these patterns can be unlearned, your confidence circuit can be reactivated. And it doesn't take years of therapy or expensive coaching programs. It takes understanding the specific triggers that activate this neural pathway and then practicing them consistently until they become automatic. Dr. Chen identified 5 primary activation methods, and I'm going to share 3 of them with you today. But first, let me tell you about Marcus, another participant in the study whose transformation was so dramatic that Dr. Chen initially thought his pre-training scans had been mislabeled. Marcus was a software engineer who described himself as professionally invisible. Despite being brilliant at his job, he was consistently passed over for promotions because he never spoke up in meetings. He ate lunch alone every day, not because he was antisocial, but because initiating conversations felt impossibly difficult. He'd been single for 3 years because the thought of approaching someone he was attracted to triggered what he described as paralysis panic. Marcus's pre-training brain scans showed hyperactivity in his default mode network, the brain regions associated with self-referential thinking and worry. His amygdala was constantly active, scanning for social threats. His confidence circuit was so underactive that Dr. Chen initially thought the imaging equipment was malfunctioning. But 6 weeks later, Marcus's transformation was so complete that his own mother commented on it. At work, he was suddenly leading project discussions and proposing innovative solutions. His colleagues started coming to him for advice because he radiated a calm confidence that made them feel secure. He started dating someone he met at a coffee shop, someone he approached because she looked interesting, not because he worked up the courage over several weeks. The most remarkable part of Marcus's story is that he describes the change as feeling more like himself, rather than becoming someone different. This is a crucial point that Dr. Chen emphasizes. Confidence circuit activation doesn't change your personality. It removes the neurological static that prevents your authentic personality from expressing itself fully. When your confidence circuit is firing properly, you're not becoming more aggressive or dominant. You're becoming more genuinely yourself. The version of you that exists when you're completely comfortable, maybe when you're with your closest friends or family, that's the version that gets to show up in all situations. So, how do you activate this circuit? The first method Dr. Chen discovered is what she calls somatic confidence priming. Your confidence circuit is directly connected to your body's posture and movement patterns. When you consciously adopt the physical stance of confidence, shoulders back, chest open, head level, you're not just faking it till you make it. You're actually sending direct neurological signals that activate your confidence pathway. But it's not just about standing up straight. Dr. Chen found that specific movement patterns prime the confidence circuit more effectively than others. Movements that take up space, that are deliberate rather than tentative, that demonstrate comfort with being seen, these directly activate the neural pathway. It's like having a physical remote control for your confidence levels. The second activation method is cognitive reframing in real time. This isn't positive thinking or affirmations. This is about consciously redirecting your brain's attention from threat scanning to value creation. Instead of entering social situations wondering, how can I avoid embarrassing myself? You train yourself to think, how can I add value to this interaction? This shift literally changes which neural networks your brain activates. Threat-focused thinking engages your limbic system and shuts down your confidence circuit. Value-focused thinking engages your prefrontal cortex and opens the pathway for natural confidence expression. The third method is what Dr. Chen calls progressive comfort zone expansion, but it's not what you think. Most people approach this wrong. They try to make giant leaps that trigger their fear response and actually strengthen social anxiety patterns. Instead, this method involves making deliberate micro-expansions that activate your confidence circuit without triggering defensive responses. For example, instead of forcing yourself to give a presentation when you're terrified of public speaking, you might start by asking one question in a meeting. Instead of trying to approach strangers at networking events, you might begin by making genuine eye contact with cashiers and service workers. These small actions activate your confidence circuit without overwhelming your nervous system. Here's what's fascinating. Each micro-expansion makes the next one easier, not because you're building courage, but because you're literally strengthening neural pathways. Your brain starts to recognize confident action as normal rather than threatening. The confidence circuit begins firing more readily and more consistently. But let me share something that Dr. Chen discovered that's even more powerful than individual activation techniques. She found that the confidence circuit responds dramatically to what she calls identity integration. This is the process of aligning your self-concept with a version of yourself that emerges when your confidence circuit is active. Most people have a split identity, who they are when they feel confident versus who they are most of the time. This internal inconsistency actually fights against confidence circuit activation because your brain perceives confident behavior as not really you. But when you begin to integrate these aspects of yourself, when you start identifying as someone who naturally expresses confidence, the neural pathway becomes your default mode rather than something you have to consciously activate. This is why temporary confidence boosters don't create lasting change. Motivational speeches, power poses before important meetings, positive self-talk, these can provide short-term activation, but they don't address the underlying identity split that keeps your confidence circuit from becoming your natural state. True confidence circuit activation happens when you stop thinking of confidence as something you do and start experiencing it as something you are. Not through ego inflation or false bravado, but through the deep neurological recognition that authentic self-expression is your birthright, not a skill you need to develop. And here's where this gets really exciting. Once your confidence circuit is consistently active, you develop what researchers call magnetic presence, the ability to influence and inspire others through your energetic state alone. People are naturally drawn to individuals whose confidence circuits are firing because it creates a sense of safety and possibility. Think about the people in your life who have this quality. When they walk into a room, others gravitate toward them. When they speak, people listen. When they suggest something, others are naturally inclined to follow their lead. This isn't manipulation or charisma techniques. It's the natural result of a brain that's operating from confidence rather than fear. Dr. Chen's research shows that this magnetic presence affects others at a neurological level. When you're around someone with an active confidence circuit, your own brain starts to mirror their neural patterns. Their calm confidence becomes contagious, creating what researchers call emotional elevation in everyone around them. This is why natural leaders seem to bring out the best in others. It's not that they're using specific leadership techniques. They're operating from a neurological state that naturally elevates everyone in their vicinity. Their activated confidence circuit creates a field of possibility that others can feel and respond to. But here's what the confidence industry doesn't want you to know. You already have everything you need to activate this circuit. You don't need special equipment, expensive coaching, or years of therapy. You need understanding, practice, and patience as your brain rewires itself into its natural confident state. The process begins the moment you recognize that confidence isn't something you lack. It's something that's been suppressed by years of conditioning and cultural programming. Your confidence circuit exists right now, waiting to be reactivated. Every time you choose authentic expression over social safety, every time you focus on contribution rather than self-protection, every time you move your body with deliberate presence rather than tentative withdrawal, you're strengthening this pathway. And here's the beautiful part. The changes compound. Each activation makes the next one easier. Each moment of genuine confidence makes the next one more natural. Your brain literally rewires itself to make confidence your default state rather than something you have to work to achieve. Dr. Chen's follow-up studies show that participants who consistently practice confidence circuit activation for just 3 months show permanent changes in their neural patterns. Not temporary improvements that require maintenance, but actual structural changes that make confidence their natural way of being in the world. Imagine waking up 6 months from now as someone who naturally commands respect in professional settings. Someone who attracts friends and romantic partners through genuine magnetism rather than desperate neediness. Someone who speaks up for their ideas because sharing value feels more natural than holding back. Someone who walks through the world with the quiet certainty that they belong wherever they choose to be. This isn't fantasy. This is the documented result of understanding and applying the neuroscience of confidence. Your brain is already equipped with everything necessary to become this person. The confidence circuit is already there, waiting for activation. But I need to warn you about something. Once you start activating your confidence circuit, once you begin operating from this neurological state, there's no going back to who you used to be. Not because the process is irreversible, but because the person you become is so much more aligned with your authentic self that returning to old patterns becomes unthinkable. Sarah describes it as remembering who I actually am. Marcus says it feels like finally being allowed to be myself in all situations. This is the power of neurological confidence. It doesn't change you into someone else. It removes the barriers that prevented you from being fully yourself all along. The question isn't whether you can develop unshakable confidence. Dr. Chen's research proves that you can. The question is whether you're ready to let go of the stories and conditioning that have kept your confidence circuit suppressed. Whether you're ready to step into the neurological birthright that's been waiting for you your entire life. In our next episode, we're going deep into the specific protocols Dr. Chen developed, the exact step-by-step process that transformed over 200 study participants from socially anxious to magnetically confident. I'm going to share the complete confidence circuit activation sequence, including the advanced techniques that weren't published in the original research. But more than that, we're going to explore something even more powerful: what happens when entire groups of people activate their confidence circuits simultaneously. Dr. Chen's latest research suggests that confident energy becomes exponentially more powerful in group settings, creating what she calls collective charisma that can transform entire organizations, communities, and cultures. This is bigger than personal development. This is about human potential on a species level. And it starts with you understanding that the confidence you admire in others isn't a gift they were born with. It's a neurological state you can learn to access anytime you choose. Your confidence circuit is online right now, ready for activation. The only question remaining is, are you ready to flip the switch? Drop a comment below. Which's the best lesson for you? Join the conversation. Like this video to spread this wisdom to more people. Subscribe to Now for daily videos that uplift, educate, and empower you.